Assalamu alaikum, children. Hope you are all good and preparing for your October-November exams. Those who are appearing for the coming May-June exam, uh, Assalamu alaikum to everyone. And as you know, that in my previous class, I completed the Makki life. Now we are entering into the Madani life of Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. As you can see on the screen, the topic is events of the first year of Hijrah, a very important question. Sometimes it comes in a combined way as to the events of the first year of Hijrah, and then I will be moving to other sections, like there is a complete question on the Mubakhat created by Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, how he paired each um, immigrant with helper. Sometimes there is a total 10-mark question on Charter of Medina with all the details. But in this question, it is a summary of basically generalized events. Okay, so we are going to touch on the describe the major events of the first year of Hijrah, a 10-mark question. Knowledge part question, length will be 250 to 300 words. It's an essay length answer. It has to be written in a narrative form. You can make the paragraphs like depending on the topics. If you want to divide them, you can write in a continuous prose also. So Cambridge is not very rigid on all these things. They just want to see what the student is writing. Okay. Now, in the B part, in your opinion, can Muslim apply the brotherhood created by the Holy Prophet ﷺ in today's Muslim community? So we will be touching the B part once we have done the A part, once we are clear. And I am, along with the answer of this question, I will be giving you a little clarification. Okay. So let's move to the A part answer. Now, in the first year of Hijrah, the Prophet ﷺ firstly constructed the mosque, Masjid-e-Nabwi in Medina, at the exact place where his camel stopped. The land was owned by Sahal and Suhail. They were the two orphan children from whom the Prophet ﷺ brought the land, and the money was paid by Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. As the construction of the mosque started, being a leader, Prophet ﷺ was himself involved in passing on the bricks to his companions, and finally a mosque was built. After it was built, the Prophet ﷺ said, now, this is a very important quote and things that we need to understand. This shall be my home. He said that this mosque will be my home, my place of worship, and my eternal resting place. So, as we know, Masjid al-Nabwi, we all, when we are going for Umrah or for the bigger pilgrimage Hajj, we do visit Medina, and that is the eternal resting place of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. In the corner of the mosque, an educational structure was put in place called Sufa. It was known as Ashabu Sufa, where Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to teach his followers about the different obligations of Islam and the commandments as they were slowly and gradually coming to him through angel Jibrail. So this was the place, and we have heard about it even when we are talking about Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He was the person who spent all his life learning each and every commandment of Quran from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So after giving a little description, now this is mosque. After the construction of the mosque, now the next question was how to call people to come to the mosque, that it is time for prayer. So Masjid-e-Quba and Masjid-e-Nabwi, there was a necessity of creating a system so that the people could arrive for prayer at the appointed times. Holy Prophet ﷺ established azan, the call to prayer, which to date is used to summon Muslim for worship. Even today, we hear the azan and we do understand now it is time for Asr prayer or Isha prayer. So looking at the timings and Azan, then the Muslim proceed towards the mosque. So this was introduced at after the construction of the mosque. So the second event of the first year of Hijrah was Azan. Now methods such as bells, trumpets, drums, and clapping were suggested. Some people said that we can clap, we can use the drums or bells. However, the Holy Prophet ﷺ did not like these methods as they were adopted by the other religions. It was decided in a public meeting that the Muslims' call to prayer would be by a human voice. And for this, you all know that who was the first Muazzin of Islam? Holy Prophet ﷺ selected, he chose Hazrat Bilal Razila Anhu because he had a very resonant voice. Okay, he selected Hazrat Bilal, who had a good and powerful voice, as Muazzin. So we have done the two important events of the first year of Hijrah. Let's move to the third one. Now, thereafter, the Holy Prophet ﷺ focused on uniting the Muhajirin and Ansar, as in English we call it immigrants and helpers. Ansars were the helpers. The immigrants and local Muslims, immigrants were the people who came from Mecca, and the Ansars were those who were living in Medina. By creating strong ties amongst them, Prophet ﷺ, being a leader with a great vision, he knew that it would be difficult for the immigrants who are coming homeless, penniless, they left their business, their families, so they needed instant both financial, moral, and um, uh, physical support from the people around them. Now, if they would not have been accepted, then it would have been difficult for them to stay over there. So he created brotherhood in Islam, and it is known as Mawakhat. Mawakhat is from the word Akh, which means brother. So when all the Muslims gathered in the house of Anas bin Malik, and each muhajir was paired, Prophet ﷺ did the pairing, okay? He paired each muhajir with one ansar, so that one person, one Ansar is taking the responsibility of one Muhajir brother. And it will, one person will not be burdenized in this way. So, as an example, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu he declared that Ali was his brother. First, he demonstrated that if I am the Ansar, my immigrant brother is Ali. He took his hand. Then the Ansars and Muhajir, they came forward, and such pairs were made, like it was a very famous pair made by Abdurrahman bin Auf, who was an immigrant, very rich person in Mecca, but when he came to Medina, he was homeless, penniless. So Prophet ﷺ paired him with an Ansar who was ready to share his house with him. And but Hazrat Abdul Rahman was bin Auf was so um, he was such an independent person. He did not like to get everything. He was ready even to share his business with him. Saad bin Rabi became his um, Ansar brother. But he said, show me the way to the market. And he went to the market and he find out, and finally his business prospered. So this pairing was very important. The pairs are to share their resources with each other, such as homes, their jobs, and were allowed to inherit by their brother in faith until the ayat was revealed, which commanded to discontinue the inheritance law. Please remember to make the correction in this spelling of discontinue, okay? There's a typing error. So this created a sense of selflessness and unity amongst the Muslims, immigrants, and Muslims Ansars, okay? So now let's move to the fourth event. Now, Holy Prophet ﷺ knew that Yasrib or Medina is inherited or inhabited by Jews. Now, there were three Jewish tribes living in Medina. Holy Prophet ﷺ being a leader, he could not ignore them because ignoring means that he will has to face opposition later on. So after strengthening the bond of Muslim, the Holy Prophet ﷺ, as a leader of the community, knew that Medina is inhabited with three Jewish tribes. You will later come to know about them, the Banu Kanaka, Banu Qurayza, Banu Nazir. These were the three tribes of the Jews. So Holy Prophet ﷺ, he wrote a treaty for the non-Muslims, which later became the Constitution of Medina, also known as Charter of Medina. It outlined the rights and duties of the different groups in relation to Muslims as to how they are going to interact with the Muslims. Now, some of the terms included number one, the Jews and the Muslims constitute the civil society and they enjoy equal rights. Sorry, I skipped the first one. Complete religious freedom to be given to people of all faiths. Holy Prophet ﷺ very openly announced that they are allowed to practice their own religion. There is no compulsion in religion, right? Secondly was that the civil society will get the equal rights whether they are the Muslims or the non-Muslims. Number third, the allies of both parties to enjoy the same security and freedom. When a security force was made, they were supposed to provide security to both the Muslims and no non-Muslims. There was no discrimination in it. In case of an attack on Medina, a very important point that if Medina is attacked by any of the pagans or any unbelievers, both the parties, which were the both parties, the Muslims and the Jews, they will defend Medina rather than assisting any of them. Holy Prophet ﷺ would describe all disputes and his word would be final. That means Prophet ﷺ would be the undisputed leader of the community and his decision would be final. So this is all about the Constitution of Medina. I hope it's clear to you. I have given an outline of the major events of the first year of Hijrah. Okay, children, now let's move to the B part question. B part question, as we read earlier also, in your opinion, when the word is your opinion, you have the liberty to give your own view, okay? The more you are able to give your view and develop those views, the more you are reaching to level 4. Okay, so in order to reach level 4, it's important you give your view and then develop your view, connect it with the Prophet ﷺ's time, how he created brotherhood, and then evaluate your answer. So I'm providing you with one sample answer. You can make changes as you wish. It's just a sample, not a Bible that you have to follow it. Okay. Can Muslim apply the brotherhood? Today, the conditions are not the same as they were at the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So we can even write, in my view, the conditions are not actually the same as they were at the time of Prophet ﷺ. But in today's community, of course, you will be connecting with today's conditions and the situation. Okay. So this is the sample answer. In my opinion, Muslims today can apply brotherhood created by Prophet ﷺ, though only to a certain extent. Okay. While the Muslim community should strive to attain the level of unity, Muslim had at the same time Prophet ﷺ. We can have the unity as Prophet ﷺ did by being able to helping each other on a small scale or it can be on a larger scale. Now, limitations such as helping each other on a larger scale through increased trade. Now, Muslims can have trade with Muslim countries in order to give them prosperity. We can reduce the tariff and quota restrictions. In case funding in each other, like funding could be done on national development projects and sanctions boycotts on countries. All the Muslim countries can unanimously decide to boycott countries like Israel, India, and France, and on a small scale by sharing our food, other provisions, and giving home to the homeless, giving sadaqah, donating clean clothes to the poor, and giving jobs to the unemployed. We can guide them, we can provide them with the links of the websites where there are jobs available. So there is a variety of example that you can think about and give your own view. And this will now you can evaluate by adding a single line by saying this will promote brotherhood amongst the Muslims both at global level and at local level. This is how you are going to attempt the B part question. And with this, I'm ending my session. If you have any question, any other suggestion, you can write in the comments, and I will be having my next session with the details of these topics. Okay, so Allah Hafiz till that time. See you inshallah and enjoy your day.